So against most fish, I'm going to be defending most suited kings, most suited queens, and I start to tail off when it gets to like Jack X and stuff like that. But and my opening frequency against fish tends to be varied quite a bit depending on what their tendencies end up beating. I mean, if they end up being the type of person that's going to just be 3-betting a ton, then I'm going to lower my PFR, my raise first. But if they're just like calling a ton and then folding to a lot of c-bets, you definitely want to be raising 100% and just stabbing constantly. If you're against somebody who calls a ton and then never folds, I'd probably go somewhere in the middle there. So he limps. I'm going to be isolating with a lot of hands here, just because I think when people limp call, they just play so fit or fold. There are some players that work in limps effectively where they can make your life really annoying, where it's probably not prudent to be like raising like ace-5 offsuit and stuff like that. But here I'd probably be raising like medium offsuit aces, like 8-9 suited plus, Jack-10 offsuit plus, and then like pocket fives plus. Some of the lower pairs, a lot of times I just check just because they have so little post-flop value. So he makes a bet here, min bet into 60. And I think it's fine just to check raise here. I think we have a lot of implied odds because it seems like one quality of fish, or maybe it's not a quality, but one thing I believe that their thought process entails is that when like you check raise, I feel like they don't put you on draws a lot as like much as a normal player would for whatever reason. So I kind of like raising here, and then he's going to call with any pair. But my 10's probably good. Obviously, the flush is good. There's some cards I can barrel, like any queen, jack, ace, even though like a lot of those cards wouldn't make sense a lot of times to thinking players. So the middle card pairs, I think we have a pretty interesting spot. I don't ever expect him to fold a king, obviously not a 9. I think we can get him to fold a 3 here, though. And like I think he could have a lot of floats, like maybe just like ace high or like jack 10, queen 10, queen jack. So I like betting. It's definitely a decision between betting and just check folding. I don't think we can really check call there, because then like if we hit our flush, then we have to like donk out the river, and it looks really strong. So wow, I check there. I don't really like that. I guess maybe my thinking is if he has a 9, then he's gonna bet, and when I shove, he'll have to call. Or he will call. But I think that's a mistake because we're basically betting against like King X and then 9X, and then like even if he decides to like float us 3 times to the 3, or if he has like pocket jacks or something he was slow playing. So I think there's more combinations of that we should be betting against than combinations of 9X where he's going to bet and then call a shove, even though we make more money when we shove. I mean, I believe it ended up working out this time. He calls with king queen, which obviously is a pure bluff catcher there. And I don't think that was a particularly great bet call by him. I probably wouldn't even have bet the river. I mean, think about if I check raise the flop and I bet the turn and I check the river, like what hand am I going to call it? I mean, I guess maybe like king jack, king 10, stuff like that, but I still think that's way too thin, and then I don't think he's ever going to be good on the river really, so. And then we just have some micro hands in there. So we get to the second table. I haven't really played against this guy at all, but I, like I said, because they were a team in the beginning, I figured he's a pretty reasonable player. So hands like this, like, since this is the first hand, I probably should be raising it, just because I feel like people don't necessarily go after you that much in the first hand when they don't know anything about you. But I usually fold against good players, these total crap hands. Like 10-2 as well. And then against regs who are going to be raising 75, 70, 80, 90%, you definitely have to defend with hands like king 5, queen 6, queen 7 offsuit, stuff like that. So we flop a pair. If I had some really sick dynamic, like I might if I thought I could get 3 streets of value, basically, I would like check raise here, then just bet. But again, I don't know anything about this guy. I don't think he knows anything about me, so I don't think he's going to be like floating a ton with like 10-7 or Jack 10 here when I check raise. So I think check call is just in order.